Hello to the chicos, hello to the chicas. Ladies and gentlemen, this is International Master Andras, and this is going to be a special edition of The Amateur's Mind. The Amateur's Mind is a series on my YouTube channel that probably enjoys the largest popularity among my different video series, and so I thought that I would give you a little bit of a taste of what The Amateur's Mind is about, and through that actually I would also give you a rather good taste of what my whole entire channel is about, which is predominantly an educationally driven chess channel where I try to really upload videos for the community that benefit the community's chess goals, their learning, in general trying to be an educational chess channel. So what I'm going to do today is that I cherry-picked 4 games from my students' practice, because I found them featuring typical mistakes that I tend to talk a lot about in this Amateur's Mind series, and I hope that these mistakes and their resolution is going to resonate with you, and you will be able to identify or hopefully at least take away something from them. So without further ado, let's head jump into the first game. And right away here I need to put forward an important concept or rather information, and that is that here my opponent actually got out move ordered, if you like, because my student never, did I say my opponent? I mean my student. Yeah, my student never really plays b6 structures, or at least never did it when this game was played. And so I don't know why, but we ended up in this very weird scenario where with a massive move at the change, excuse me, we are in the Queen's Indian defense, which once again my students wasn't familiar with. Now, one thing you find very often, and actually I do talk about this in my chessable courses a lot too, is that when you are out of book, especially when you are early out of book, people, especially on lower levels, tend to make a lot of silly mistakes in opening simply because they don't rely on chess principles. And this is exactly going to be a textbook case of what's about to happen here. Pawn e3 was played. C takes d5 is a very popular variation here, but I think e3 is also playable. Knight d7 takes, knight d5. Pawn takes would have been also very good here, with the idea of retaining the center, and later on c5, bishop d6. Black would have had a very, very healthy position. The Tartakova variation of the Queen's Gambit declined is an identical position without a3 and the bishop being out here. So it is also a good point to stop here, because it showcases that if you understand openings, even openings that you do not play, you have a reference point, you can compare. Now, this usually comes more handy for higher rated players who know these openings, even the ones that they don't play. I personally never in my life played the Tartakova in the Queen's Gambit declined, also because I never played the Queen's Gambit declined, but I happen to know that that's the variation, and so here I can make a comparison. Obviously, my student couldn't, but that's fine. He took with the knight, which is totally okay. Bishop d3, and we played knight f6. Now, that's the first sign of sort of slipping. I tend to say that any time you play an opening and you find yourself that you are playing a move that is neither developing nor controlling the center, you are probably doing a tremendous doozy. Now, you could say that this is doing both, but I would contest both, because if you want to develop, you need to develop the bishop. The knight has already been moved, and although probably it's not its final destination, but it's far more important to develop the bishop and castle. So we can't count knight f6 as a developing move. Now, as far as center is concerned, again, knight f6 hardly does anything for the center, because white is totally free, or will be at least very soon, to play for e4. I think the intention was actually to stop e4 because of knight takes, pawn takes, and then knight e4. But to be fair, castles followed by rook e1 easily executes e4, and then it's questionable whether we had better things to do. E.g., we could have bitten into the center right away with c5. Anyway, this is still okay, but then student goes a6. Now, that is the typical doozy when I always go like, was that the developing move or was that the center controlling move? Ah, right, neither. So you know already, before you even touch that piece, that that was gonna be a complete lemon. And not even a ripe one. So that move makes absolutely no sense. White is not threatening with check. White is not threatening with knight b5. We are not developed. We are not castled. Why? Why would you even think about it? Like, actually, and I really like to say this, that this has two layers. The problem has two layers. First, the fact that we are even thinking about this. The fact that this comes up as a candidate move is a tremendous problem, because it shouldn't. Because of what I said before about development center. There are exceptions to this rule, of course, like to any rules in chess. But here, there was no reason to break either. Second layer of problem, not only did we actually incorporate that move there, that lemon, into our potential candidates, but we actually voted for it as our best move. How? How could this be your best move when we have got a bishop not developed that I can put here and castle? So this is where I kind of don't understand really the amateur's mind, despite of the claim that I do a lot of videos about how it works. Here I am at an absolute loss as to why a6 was played at all. Anyway, rolling on. Rook e1. White is playing very consistent and good chess here. Bishop, knight takes, pawn takes, knight e4. Now, obviously, black is desperately wanting to stop e4. In my opinion, not a particularly good move here, because again, we are executing plans without finishing development. That's always a suspicious concept. I always tell my students when they go like, oh, I had a plan here. I'm like, no. You don't have a right to make a plan because you don't have your pieces out. So almost certainly, whatever your plan is, it's going to fail miserably because your army is not ready to fight. Now, quite interestingly, I tried to refute this, and interestingly, the best move I could come up with the help of the engine even, admittedly, was this very, very interesting idea of check, forcing queen d7. Note that b5 loses to bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, and the bishop drops. Queen d7, and then swing back to c2, hitting the knight on e4, and preparing for the tempo move knight e5. Now this is next level chess, because the game was actually queen c2, and after f5, white was doing not so great compared to what it could have been. Now imagine that the queen was here, now white would be coming in with a tempo, the queen would have to move, and then it's white to move again. That would have been a very sweet motif. And this is where white loses the thread in the game. He comes in, bishop e5, knight e5, bishop d6, f3, and typical mistake of lower level chess, by the way, f3, and only and exclusively assumes that the knight has to move, and doesn't even look at the possibility that black has the capture, after which white has to take, and now after knight c5, we are in a setup where the white pawn structure has been compromised. And although I wouldn't call these weak, or I wouldn't call the fact that there are double pawns on the board per se a problem, but all this adding up means that white is a little bit planless. The dark squared bishop is a little bit out of play, and it's difficult to see how it can join the fray. Overall, we prefer black slightly. Not to happen. He takes. And ta-da! The spider sense is kicking like mad. Unguarded rook, and there is a check here. Now this is literally how long the pattern recognition should take to kick in for a more experienced club level player. And I go check, king takes, check, and I pick off the rook. That's it. Done, dusted. And my student who plays here black is way above this level, for the record, and yet somehow when under pressure, when there are multiple choices to be made, we tend to always somehow go wrong. And so now things are not as clear as they could be. G3 takes, white plays king f1, and that is another biggie, but what's to be done? The rook needed to be defended. So probably this was also okay. Bishop h2 would have done the cleaner job, but okay, let's move on. So G3 take, king f1. And now here comes the absolutely breathtakingly messy part of the game where you probably will go like, what? Why would you do that? And yet we're talking here about 2000 rated player on the other chess website, and he black had a choice of taking this followed by castle, attacking here, or castle first and then followed by take. Now as soon as I say it out loud, you should have two things going through in your mind. First, which one is more forcing? Two, f takes e4 is more forcing. You always want to do the move that has the more forcing nature. All right, fe4 introduces a double threat. The double threat is to take the bishop as well as the occupation of the f file. Castles introduces the single threat of takes e4. Now here, according to student, and this is why you need to practice calculating lines quite deeply and always assess correctly, but I will get back to that. His claim is the following, and I'm not going to play it out so that you can actually appreciate the mistake that was made here. His claim was the following. After fe4, I didn't like check, king up, bishop, hang on, bishop c2, rook f8 check, king e2, rook f2 check, king d1. And the king walks away, says he. Now I'm going to pause here for a second, or I already have, so that you can work out what the problem is with this piece of calculation. The most important thing that I would like to pass on to you as a message is that you can't possibly stop a line. Anytime you calculate a forcing sequence, a line where you go take, check, 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 and then there are more checks to be given to a very apparently exposed king, you cannot possibly stop. And in that position after king d1, there are two checks, both of them leading to mate in 2. So this is why calculating deeply is very, very important. I know it is a difficult thing to execute, but simply it's not possible that you stop calculating here. It's just ridiculous that you have got checks in, you are executing a checking sequence and you just stop at a random point. That can't happen. That checking sequence needs to be calculated till the end. And it's not really that hard to calculate checking sequences, because although they tend to go very deep, they also tend to be very singular in that there are very few side variations to reckon with. So here we had a massive doozy by castling, after which white is fully back in the game by taking on f5. This is how long it takes. Just one slip and it's all gone. We play bishop f3, a very sneaky move that, by the way, announces a mate in 2, threat 3 rather, check, king here, check, king here, and queen g2. Very nasty and very unpleasant stuff. White plays e4, we took on f5, he pushes in, and here we play bishop e4 check. Now can you find why this is an amazing doozy again? Once again, calculation, forcing moves, checks. Look at it. Check, 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 and the checkmate of the week has sadly been missed. Heartbreaking stuff. Again, being unaware of the fact that by pushing the pawn up to f5, the king on e3 has been made insecure. Instead, we played bishop e4, a very mysterious move that in fact hands over the initiative and all the advantage and everything to white after rook e3. We're talking here about very, very established players on club level at least, and look at how it can go. Instead of mate in 4, just through lack of calculation, it goes from mate in 4 to white is better. Absolutely unbelievable stuff. And then white takes on e4, thinking that that's his only move. And after the retake, we now repeat a mate pattern from earlier on, or very close to that at least. With rook f2, we are winning at least a queen. And so the game is over. All right, next. Ooh, I went way too far ahead. This game is going to feature 2 motifs, and I will accelerate a bit because I'm going a little bit too slowly here. So I'm going to accelerate the opening because I want to get to the main 2 points of this game. White plays a very lackluster version of the Benoni, allowing black a lot of play. Although these 2 moves looked a little bit weird, but now knight b4 is a very awesome threat. White plays a3. Now here I really would like to convey a very important and very powerful message in chess. Every single time when you play a move and you have a threat, That's knight b4. And your opponent plays a move which is purely and 100% designed to stop your threat. It has no other meaning whatsoever. It's solely, and that's alone, the sole purpose of the move is to stop your announced threat. Your job, first and foremost, you are not playing good chess if you don't do it, is to check, is that move actually stopping my threat? If you don't do this, what I just told you then, you're not playing in the proper spirit of aggressive chess. Right? And now I'm going to put a spin on it too, because here is my my student's thinking. He goes, rook c8, prepping. The word I hate, one of my most hated word as a chess coach is I was preparing for. More on that in a second. So I was prepping knight b4. And I'm like, right, you were prepping knight b4. When you are about to, and this is one of my greatest ever chess advice number 2, right within 2 minutes you are going to get 2. When you are about to play a move that is supposedly preparing something, before you do that, check if that something is already good to go or not. Because so now I tackled the same problem from 2 different angles. I tackled it for you from they defended it. Well, guess what? Not really. And also let's prepare the move. Well, guess what? It didn't need to be prepared at all. Knight b4 here is a knockout win. All it takes is for you to be cocky enough to ask and pose this question. Does that stop my threat, actually, really? Or does it not? And you look, and you find that knight b4 takes, and the knight can't move because the queen falls. Any other case, the game is over. That's all it takes. Okay, I'm lying. It takes a little bit more, because if knight a4, you need to see queen a5, once again attacking the knight and introducing the game-winning threat. GG, on your bike. That's it. And that is a game changer. Because you can say, and you can argue that, well, okay, but why don't we still play rook c8 and then play knight b4 next no matter what? Because chess is a cruel game. It's designed to be incredibly cruel, and it doesn't forgive you. Chess is a very unforgiving game. You missed the boat, you missed it for good. And now a whole new game has started where our queenside attack is at best dubious, and white is now dominating the white squares. Now knight b4 is just a doozy, because takes, queen f5 check, and all we have is a hanging knight without any threats whatsoever. That's it. We are clearly worse here. And so student goes, takes, castles. For funsies sake, I would like to mention here that here knight f3 is an insanely annoying move, although it looks like bishop takes, and then queen here is actually going to generate tremendous counterplay, but not quite. Excuse me. Why is knight g5 good here? I forgot queen c3. There's a move here that's good for white. Maybe it's even king d2. Yeah, I think it actually is. And we just walk away, and knight g5 is an insanely difficult threat to stop. But that's not what I wanted to show you. What I wanted to show you is this. I'm going to play a fair few moves now rather quickly, because I want to get to the point. And we're just about to get there. So the opponent plays rook takes h6, introducing a queen h7 mate threat. Now, just a very, very basic, very simple, not really calculable, but just generic piece of advice. If you have got a kingside castle setup where you have got a fianchettoed bishop, right, and your opponent does not have a dark squared bishop, it is actually very, very difficult to get mated. Very difficult to get mated. And black is doing his very best here to get mated, for the record, and yet right here, right now, black is better. We lost this game in 2 more moves. Yeah. Actually, yes, 2 more moves. We lost this game in 2 more moves. And here is my message to you. It looks like we are dead. Not at all. En contraire, as the French would like to say. In such situations, you just play a quiet rook move. The check comes in. You play king f8. And this bishop, man, is the greatest boss of defense of all time. Remember this. Whenever you get attacked, when you have got a fianchettoed bishop, and your opponent lacks that dark squared bishop that has the potential to trade this off, the defense proves to be very, very sturdy. Very sturdy. So here opponent once again plays rook h6, and we just took it. And in that one move, this evaluation went from minus 0.8 to plus 16 and beyond, because now we're getting mated. And after queen f6, queen g7 mate next. This is how easy it can go. All right, 2 more quick ones. Funnily enough, another oh wait a second, sorry, another Benoni structure, and this time around I'm going to show you something very typical that tends to happen a lot to lower rated players, club level players, when they are under pressure, or if they are under a combination of different pressures. You are being attacked and your clock is ticking away. This is always, almost always, the ultimate source of panic, aka blunders. So let's see what's happening here. Black has got a rock solid position. E5 square is very juicily ours. Admittedly, there is a bit of an initiative here going on for white, but it's positionally unsound. Black is doing totally fine. The first weird decision is that we are taking this way. I would prefer to take towards the center, whatever. Bishop drops back, knight e5, fine, takes. Now already, if we here look at the position, we cannot help but notice that we have got 2 absolutely monster pieces on the board, and white has 2 absolute bananas. Like, they are just painted wood. That's all these pieces are. They are not pieces. How do you read red again? Ah, there you go. So I'm going to do these guys yellow because they are so awesome, and the red dudes are pathetic. They are not chess pieces. That's painted wood. They can't look at this. Can't go there, can't go there, can't go there, can't go there, can't go there. My only square is e2. Like, positionally speaking, we are already dominating the heck out of this position. You must be aware of that. And in fact, you need to tell these facts to yourself, because otherwise you're not going to evaluate the position correctly, which leads to incorrect decisions afterwards. Queen f3. Rook a7. Kind of unnecessary, really, because we could actually allow the check as long as the bishop moves. But fine, we go rook a7. I'm okay with that. h4. White is threatening to go h5. Is he really? Let's rewind the tape here for a second. h4, white is intending to play h5, which I betcha you will go like, that looks scary. Well, unfortunately, scary, as I like to talk about it a lot on my channel, is not an actual chess evaluation. There is no such thing in chess as scary. There is dangerous, there is potential attack there is very powerful, there is very bad, but scary, that a horror movie is scary. This move needs an objective evaluation. We need to know if that's good or not good. Scary ain't gonna cover it. That doesn't give me information as to what to do. So I need to actually have a look into that and see what happens. And I actually explained this to my student exactly this way. I'm going to do this. You go h5, I'm going to do this. And you tell me what white has achieved by pushing this up here. And we have established that after takes, which was supposedly scary, now black is about to give a mate on the h file. Yeah, you heard that right. Black, not white, black. Because we are already controlling this diagonal very powerfully, and so the danger is imminent. So, long story short, this is just an absolute bluff of the worst kind. So now we have got total freedom to do whatever we please to do. Obviously not going to be rook b7, that was just a pass. One good move to play here is a5, bishop a6, because this bishop hasn't developed yet. My favorite one, because I am a simplicist, is to drop the bishop back, eliminate the f-file rook, and since the rooks are not connected, once I trade the rook off, the next rook is going to conquer the f-file and allow me to conduct a very dangerous attack. White is clearly worse, if not dead. Instead, in the midst of panic, we pull off the worst positional blunder that you can possibly do in this position, which is this. Now, again, the fact that this has entered the realm of candidate moves is a big problem, because here we are trading the very best piece on the board for debatable whether it's the absolute worst or second worst. Either way, a shocking trade. So this is not 3 points for 3 points. It's like 7 points for -1. That's more of the maths. And yeah, the computer evaluation, which you can't see guys now, is actually confirming that. Now after queen takes, white has got tremendous threats that are associated with h5, which is now super nasty, but also the dark squared bishop occupying the diagonal either there or here is going to cause permanent dramas around our king. White could not have done this if they had been given 10 moves in a row. Black actually committed here an insane level of positional suicide. And the game fell apart very, very quick after, like so. And we got mated. A real drama where simply we just didn't actually sit down, calm down, have a look at what's going on, assess the pros and the cons, and then make a call. It was very much a spur of a moment. Ooh, h4, h5 is killing me, I need to trade. Which just doesn't add up at all. And just that one minor mistake, well, hardly minor, but a small mistake, led to an absolute disaster, a total failure from a game that was otherwise perfectly well conducted by Black, which is why I'm telling you that chess is a really cruel game. Black played a perfect game until now. White played 17 absolute lemons. And yet White walked away with a super easy win. And all this is because of this move. It's rough, man. It's rough, but no one forced us to do that. So in the end of the day, it was our fault. And on that note, I'm going to now get into the last one. And this boy is going to be a treat. And this is going to be a really high level example of how tactical motives, tactical pattern recognition, and in general, aggressive tacticians, how aggressive tacticians think in a game of chess. So I'm going to model to you that again through a student's game where he played a very good opening against Black, and after the first 14, 15 moves, whatever, Black is comfortably at least equal, but I would actually prefer to be Black here. More space, more harmoniously developed pieces. The whole shebang just looks great. Right, rook d8, there, rook d7 and g3. And this is a really interesting moment there where a lot of players would just go like, yeah, that looks weird, but it stops knight f4. It kind of makes sense. I'm going to go rook d8 because I just played rook d7. And they would totally miss here an absolutely fabulous, breathtaking attacking pattern. So let me tell you how you have a chance to spot this. Ever since this move has been played, your subconscious should tell you that this is constantly on. That's a trump card we have, that the f2 pawn is pinned and the king can't move because it's hanging, right? That's always in the back of your mind, that that diagonal there is a slice and dice. Now, when this happens, when knight f5 happens, another layer of tactical vision kicks in, which is that occasionally I can take and then play e4, tickling the knight and eliminating quite a few defenders around the white king. And then the third layer kicks in, which is g3. Now, if we put these three things together, apparently that's how Europeans show free. This is how Australians do it. Now you start thinking that, right, f2 is pinned. I can eliminate this and play e4. And then g3 is hanging. Holy cacadoodle. What a motif, man. Then you begin to calculate. And you go like this. Bishop takes pawn e4. And no matter where the knight goes, I take g3 next. Carnage. And then you go like, okay, where can actually the knight go? Bishop takes pawn takes e4, knight e4, bugger. The knight blocks off the diagonal, and so I cannot take this, and g6 is hanging. Not good. Now there are two kinds of chess players, depending on their level here. One that goes, bugger, so close, and still plays this. And the other one is the one that goes, d4, right? Okay, can I weaken the support of d4? Oh yes, baby, b4. And now white is under tremendous pressure, because if they don't react to b4, which by the way looks like a complete doozy unless you have gone through the thought process I just presented, then I will play b3, and no matter which way the bishop goes back, these rooks will never be connected again, ever. So they take, and now the beauty unfolds. Takes, e4, and now you see the genius of the b4 push. Knight d4 is no longer possible. They must take, we go checkerino, they go here, and after bishop takes f2, the game is over. Actually, there is a better move here. Probably queen takes first, and then, yeah, there are various ways to break through here. And alternatively, after e4, what else was I looking at? Yeah, not much actually, because if the knight moves to random, then we just take this, and again the black attack is absolutely vicious. Bishop takes f2, knight h4, knight f4, and we are winning. Now to spot this is a tough challenge, I get it, but I wanted to model to you a higher level tactical motive that was missed. What are the tools that help you to get there, and how you can then figure out the exact piece of calculation that actually finishes off the business. So yeah, this is sublime. I really like this. Actually, the point of this take here is that if they take here now, I remember we have got bishop here, and that's a gorgeous finishing off move, because the idea is that now after f4 takes, the queen cannot take because of mate, and the queen goes to f2, knight g4. And taking on f7 at any given point makes no difference whatsoever. I just take back, and if anything, it strengthens the attack. And black is dead. So, giving a summary of this match is quite difficult, but probably a couple of things that I would like to reflect back on. When your opponent defends your threat, ask yourself, does this actually stop it? When you are planning to do something and you are madly playing preparing moves, check if the move is already good to go. Often we waste time by preparing moves that are good to go. Yep, remember that the fianchettoed kings is difficult to crack up if there is no way to eliminate the fianchettoed bishop. That's the learning from here. And I think that that will do the trick for today, guys. So that will be it from me for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis of different games, different topics, but overall, the overarching concept was to highlight mistakes that I find occur a lot. And this is the type of content that you can find a lot on my channel. So I hope that you enjoy this video, guys. And I hope to see you over there on my channel too. And I would like to thank everybody, including the one and only Agad Mehta, for making this video possible. Thank you very much once again, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.